Okay, guys, so I'm just now getting logged in and set up. What's going on, Benjamin? Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, let me know if you can hear me. All right, good. What's up, Matt? Kumar, what's going on, bro? What's up, Daniel? Asia? All right, got my people. Life is good, man. Life is good. Well, guys, let's see. Looks like we still got some people signing in right now. Looks like we got about 40 people online, and I'm teaching a class right now. So I got some people who are actually here in the physical classroom who are kind of hanging out as well. What's going on, Rowan? All right, so I am going to jump on this Pastebin. Okay, how's this going to work? Yeah, that'll do it, huh? All right, and there we go. Yeah, of course, you can get some CPE credits, or ECE credits, as they say so affectionately here. Gotta have credit, baby. All right, so what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to try to cover Python and some of the different things that you can do with Python from a security context. And I'm one of those people who just flat out sucked at programming. Like I don't think there was adequate language to describe how much I really don't like programming. I don't think there's adequate language to describe how bad I was at programming. So I decided to take a college course on programming. This is several years ago, and I took a course in C, the programming language C, and I got an F. Like not even a good F, like a 44%, like not even close to a D. Like I sucked at programming. So I ended up getting this book called C, Programming for Dummies. And when I got that book, I actually think I got dumber. I was more confused than when I actually took the class. Like I was like, man, I don't know if this is ever going to work for me. So after that, I was in the bookstore one day and I found this book called Absolute Beginner's Guide to C. An Absolute Beginner's Guide to C. This book changed my life like Jesus, hallelujah. The book is written by a guy named Greg Perry. So this is what the book actually looks like, and I'm talking about changed my life like Jesus, hallelujah. So I was in the bookstore, and the book was on the clearance rack for like $1, and I read the book, and on the first page of the book, it's got a guy pointing at a computer going like, this is a computer. Like I needed something that put it down in like that simple of language. And the book just really kind of used analogies to explain everything, like what's a variable and what's an array and all of that. So for me, it was what I needed to kind of get started, because I just found that every book that I had read before or every class that I had taken just put everything in like way too big of words for me. So if you ever can get a book where Greg Perry is the author, that's the author's name here, Greg Perry. Always look for books where Greg Perry is either the author or the technical editor. I found that to be what really helped me. Greg Perry is his name. Now, after a while, what I really kind of transitioned to is I transitioned to YouTube. And on YouTube, there's this guy, his name is The New Boston. The New Boston, all one word, The New Boston. So this kid was really how I kind of took it to the next level. Because after the book, what the book did for me was kind of like put this stuff into, okay, I know what a variable is now. Okay, I know what a for loop is, but I don't really know how to use it. So what this did for me was jumping on here kind of gave me a way to try programming languages and just type what he types. There's no PowerPoint. You just open up a web browser and just literally do what he does. He's like, okay, let's go install C#, and you go in and you install it, and let's install Eclipse, and you just follow along with him. So that was what really kind of did it for me. And then I took a couple of Python courses. So the first Python course was the New Boston Python. So it's this one, 43 videos. It's from the New Boston, 43 videos. I just did that one. And then after that, I did the Google Python course. So Google did a 2-day Python workshop, and I did that one. So you can see this one here is 23 videos. And I literally went through all the exercises in each course twice. Once I did that, I went to packetstormsecurity.org. So I went to packetstormsecurity.org, and I just used this link right here. Can someone ask me a question so I can respond and put the link? Just ask me a real quick question. I can post. That way I can respond to you. Thanks. There you go. So here's the link. So the link is Packetstorm Security. Whoops, let me get that out of the way. packetstormsecurity.com/files/tags/Python. Now what I did after taking those 2 courses, I took those 2 courses on YouTube twice. I did each one 2 times. Then I went here and I looked for files that were written in Python. And then all I did was download every single Python-based hacking tool that I could find, and this is how I did it. So Packetstorm houses all these common hacker tools. What you're doing is you're looking for hacking tools that are written in Python. So I went through all those tools and I started to sort them and organize them, and I broke them up so that I could read through the source code of them, and that's how I started teaching myself how to use Python for security. That's the God's honest truth. I've never taken a college course in Python. After that horrible college experience that I had learning in C, I have never taken another college programming course since. So I always tell everybody, if you're going to learn Python from me, you got to kind of wrap your head around how I do Python. So the biggest thing that I tell people is I'm a normal guy, so I teach programming for humans, right? So you're going to see that I'm just like, hey, man, let's just jump in and let's just mess with it. It's a lot easier to get in and just do Python than it is to kind of teach it the way a lot of other people teach programming languages. So I'm just going to do a couple of things, and hopefully this stuff I'm showing you will have some value. And I'm just trying to move stuff around here, guys. Give me a little second. Okay. Hopefully the stuff I'm showing will have some value and you'll get some value out of it. So I'm on a Linux machine and I'm just going to type Python. Okay, so when I type Python, it opens me up to this Python prompt. Now, if you want to do the same commands that I'm typing, you can go to the same Pastebin. So the same Pastebin has all the commands that I'm typing right now. Let me zoom in so you guys can see it. Okay, so BBTM5HFR, that's the Pastebin that I'm on. So you can see some of the commands. Now this Pastebin is like a 5-day class, so I can't do all of it right now. But for real, to be real quick, you know, you should get an idea of what some of this stuff is going to be like. So we start off with doing Python and doing simple things with Python. So a couple of simple things that you can do with Python is obviously math. So you can do like 2, you know, plus 2, great, right? And then you can do like regular stuff like 6 minus 3. Now you can also, key thing to notice with Python is anytime I'm talking whole numbers, so like if I do 18 divided by 7, it's going to tell me 2, but it's not really 2, right? So if you divide it by 7.0, that's how you get numbers with decimal points. One of the numbers that you're talking about has to have a decimal point in it. So the thing to remember is with Python, whenever you talk to it with numbers that are whole numbers, he'll talk back in whole numbers. If you give him a number with a decimal point, he'll always talk back to you in numbers with decimal points. Okay, it's called floating points. So it's one of those cute things to remember, and a lot of people are seeing me clear my screen a lot. So to clear your screen, you just use Control-L as in Lincoln. Okay, other things that you can do that I think are really interesting is like how to do variables in Python. So let's just say A equals 5, right? B equals 10. And now you can do like A plus B, and he does it, right? But like, what if you want to get a variable and you want to say, okay, well, my age, right, equals this. So what I'm going to say is input, and then inside of parentheses, I'm going to be like, enter your age, right? So now, when you do that, you see how it prompts you for your age? So you can write, well, hey, I'm 21 years old. Okay, no, I'm not. But now if you type age, you can see, oh, age is 21. I can go age plus, right, 55, and that's how old I feel like I am sometimes, right? Now, if you want to take in text, you can do it by using raw input. So maybe rather than age, you want to take in a name. So if I take in a name, instead of input, you do raw input, and now the same thing. Enter your name, right? So now if I throw in my name, right, you see he takes in your name. So I think one of the coolest things with Python is you can so quickly take in data and do so much with it. You can also do more math, like exponents and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to skip that. And now let's jump down into some other things that you can do. So you can do stuff with strings, right? String stuff is really easy. So let's say, for example, you want to go, hey, my name is Joe. Well, that doesn't work, and that's because you have to put it inside of quotes. Now, Python really won't care if you want to put that name equals single quote like this, Joe. Python's cool with it, right? So flipping back and forth, and another thing that you can do is you can turn around and you can change that value to an integer, right? People who came from other programming languages, like their C programming teacher would be like rolling in his grave right now. You can't just take data and store it in all these different types like that. But Python is really, really cool. Python's just like, hey, bro, you want it to be a string? It's a string. Hey, bro, you want it to be an integer? It's an integer. And Python just rolls with it. So after that, we start saying, so we start the class with like, what are the basics? Strings, integers, all that kind of stuff, right? We do that for about an hour, hour and a half. Then after that, we start doing like some log analysis. So we'll say, all right, why don't we download this log file? So I download this log file, and now I've got an access log. So what do people do? They like yank down a log file from a web server, which is what this access log is, and they'll cat the log and they'll grep for an IP. How many of you guys have done that with log files before, right? You'll pull down a log file, cat the log file, pipe it to grep, and then grep for an IP and go, okay, well, here's that IP in the log file, right? Then common Linux thing that you'll do is you do that, then you'll pipe it to WC TAC-L, so you can see how many times that IP address showed up in the log file. In this case, it's 5 times. This is really common with sysadmin type stuff, right? But what a lot of people don't realize that you can do with Python is I can do the same thing with a whole lot less code. So let's say I just go Python, right? And now what I want to do is I want to say f equals open, and I want to open this log file. So I'll go access _ log, and I want to open it with the permissions to read it like this. So now that file is read in and stored as f as in Frank. Now you can go lines equals f dot read lines, and now boom, we're done. Like literally the entire log file has been written in. If you go print the lines like this, print lines, there's all the lines in the log file. Now, if you want lines like this, you can go lines, right? And then I can throw it in brackets and I can give it a 0. And there's the first line of the log file. You can iterate through. I want the 10th line in the log file, right? Or I can say like print the length, right, of lines, right? And now you can get an exact number of lines in the log file. So there's so much more that you can do. So when we start the class, the first thing that we do is just the structure of Python. Then we do like how to read log files. Then after that, we come in with some code of like, well, how do you search for IP addresses in log files? Then we'll say, okay, well, if I can search for an IP address in a log file, well, then I should be able to search for an SQL injection or cross-site scripting or something else in a log file. Because if you can search for an IP, what's the difference of searching for an SQL injection, right? Well, then after that, we'll say, okay, well, why don't you give me a CSV file? So like right here, I've got a Nessus scan, and we'll yank down this Nessus scan. 1 second. We'll yank down this Nessus scan, and then we'll use Python to read the Nessus scan. So you can say, all right, well, I want to read this Nessus scan. So you're going to see that I'm going to import CSV, right? And now, boom, you read in an entire Nessus file, and now you can sort and parse that. So what we do is we write through series of scripts to show people how to sort and parse Nessus scans, right? So you could start saying, okay, I want to take the row number, and for every row, I want to say if the row number is 0, make that the header row. Then if the column number is 0, then I want you to increment 1 and then print out that column number and then iterate through them. So what this script will do is it'll take, 1 second, there we go. It'll take that content, and let's go read CSV 2.py, right? I'll put all this in here. And now when you run this, Python, sorry guys, the H key on my keyboard is really jacked up. Read CSV 2.py, you'll see that he breaks up and parses that content. Look at how it's all parsed neatly now, right? The plugin ID sorted, the CDSS score sorted, and then what we end up doing is we take this after parsing it and we push it into a database. And then we can write database queries on the data. So the first day is learning the basics of Python, reading logs, and then reading scans, right? Then after that, we jump into doing some other stuff, like reading packet captures. So you'll see that we use Python to read packet capture files. A packet capture file is what you would use for something like Wireshark. So we use Python to read packet capture files. That's day 2. So we'll show you how to use Python, look through PCAPs, and then pull data out of PCAPs, sort data by protocol type inside of PCAP files. Then after that, we move on to day 3. So you can see down here, it's like, hey, here's your homework. And the homework is, hey, go out and watch the first 10 videos. And those first 10 videos are those YouTube videos that I told you that I was learning Python on. See that? And then we give you like a task, hey, fix this broken code that parses these logs. So then after that, the next thing is sockets. So we teach you how to make bind shells, reverse shells, and do all the common things that you see people doing when they're hacking, when they break into a machine and they make the server kick back a shell, you know, after they've broken into the machine. And then we'll teach you how to do socket coding, stuff like this right here, right? The thing that I think a lot of people really like is a tool called StayP. So down here, I'll show you guys how to use StayP, and then after that, we'll get up and we'll button this up and get out of here, okay? Because we're coming up on our half-hour mark. And I got way too much to go. All right, so what we can do is we can install StayP. Let's do this real quick. So StayP is a packet crafting tool. So for people who are really into network security and network protocol analysis, then what's really cool about StayP is you can start looking at how people can really kind of take packet crafting and packet creation to the next level. So there's this guy, his name is Felipe Beyond Me. And Felipe is one of those guys who's like so smart, he shouldn't be allowed to consume oxygen. I don't know if you get people who bother you like that, but Felipe bothers me. because he's just too freaking smart for his own good. So in 2005, he did this presentation. So I'll give you guys the link for this presentation. And I remember when I was reading this in 2005, I was already doing my CCIE, which is a Cisco certification. So I consider myself pretty good with networking, right? And I was already pretty comfortable with Linux. So I was kind of one of those guys like, I know networking pretty well. So if you look at this, this guy goes off to say, hey, he used Python. So he uses 2 slides to explain how Python works. Python has a couple of things, right? Data types, int, long, string, tuple, list. And then a couple of control structures, an if, else, a try, except, how you define a function, and a while loop. That's pretty much Python. So then he goes on to say, okay, if we look at packet crafting right now, and we look at the state of the art, you've got packet forging tools, packet sniffing tools, packet testing tools, scanning tools, fingerprinting tools, attacking tools, and then you've got these different types of tools that do these different types of things. And this is what makes it so frustrating, because for sniffing tools, you got Etherreal, TCP dump, Enter-PCAP, CDP sniffer, AIM, Vomit, TCP trace, and the same thing with Packet, Excalibur, Nemesis, IP sorcery, and right, for all these different types of tools to do all these different types of things. So if you have testing tools like Ping, HPing2, HPing2, HPing3, scanning tools like Nmap, AMAP, BMAP, Unicorn Scan, fingerprinting tools like Xprobe, Puff, ChronoS, attacking tools like Poison Ivy, IkeProbe, EaterCap, GSniff, like this is insane, isn't it? So he goes on to say that if you really stop and think about it, building a raw packet in C is about 60 lines of code, right? So to build a packet in a programming language like C is 60 lines of code. And he says popular tools use scenarios to build packets. So he says you'll never be able to do something that the developer of the tool didn't imagine. So he says, name a tool that'll allow me to send an ICMP echo request with some padding data, an IP protocol scan with the more fragments flag set, ARP cache poisoning with VLAN hopping, right? Or a trace route with an applicative payload like DNS or ISACAM. So think about that. You're doing a trace route, and inside of the trace route ICMP packet, inside of the payload portion of the packet is embedded DNS. So the whole thought process about it was to use Python to be able to develop a framework for generating packets of any type. So on top of being able to generate packets of any type, he talked about this problem that's really common in networks called ether leaking. So if you run HPing and you say, hey, I want to do HPing and look at ICMP traffic, if you look at it, this looks normal, right? If you get down here and look down here, you go, okay, this is the IP address. This is the IP in hex, right? Super easy, right? You jump down here and you go, okay, here's the time to live value of the packet. You go, all right, well, here's the time to live value of the packet in hex. No problem. But then you go, okay, well, here's the packet ID, right? The ID flag is the increment counter for every packet that's sent. Okay, well, that's no problem. That's this right here. So now you go, all right, well, I've got the ICMP sequence number. Okay, great. That's this right here. That's easy. But now he goes, did you see? And then me, with my super CCIE networking mind, I said, see what? And then he goes, well, what's this stuff down here? All this red stuff down here. What's this? Right? And you've got data that's leaked into the padding of the packet. This is called ether leaking, right? Now, what tool would you use to detect that, or even know that you can inject data into that, right? So that's the whole thing, right? Then, even if you could do that, what tool would you use to read and decode that back? So his whole theory was, let's build a tool that could do stuff like that. Now, I'm teaching a class right now, and you got students who are running Nmap all day, right? So this happens a lot. You run Nmap, and Nmap says the port is open. So that means you sent a SYN, synchronization request, to the distant server, and the distant server responded with a SYN ACK. that's how it tells you the port is open. If you send a SYN and you receive a reset ACK, that's how it tells you that the port is closed. Now, what messes people up is when they run Nmap and it tells them that the port is filtered. So now for you, what does that mean, right? Well, did you get a no response? Did you get an ICMP host unreachable? Did you get an ICMP port administratively prohibited? And if you did, from who? Right? Where in the network is this filter? And by what? How? Like, you don't know what's going on. So in order to figure that out, you have to run a sniffer while you run Nmap so that you can actually see the responses that are coming back from it. So that was the goal that he had. So he says, we use the same tools to look at networks. We all use Nmap to look at networks. These tools give a subjective version of the network. So the world is seeing through those tools. So you won't notice what those tools can't see. Bugs, flaws, anything like that is inherent in the tool. So we all have this same inherent issues. One of the things that happened in class this week, remember you guys were doing the scanning, and when you scanned as root versus scanning as a local user, you were getting different results, and we were having to calculate TTL values, and we said, okay, well, running it as a local user will cut down on host discovery issues. And I really didn't want to get real knee deep down into this kind of level of packet stuff. But if you were to use a tool like StayP, you could analyze that all within the same tool. So let's jump in. Let's do a real quick StayP lab. So what I'm going to do is StayP. I'm going to run StayP like this, right? And you'll see that when I run StayP, oops, I got to run with sudo. So let's say I run StayP. And now what you're going to do is you're going to say I equals IP. So you create this IP object like this. So I create this IP object, and now that I've created this, I can go I.display. So I go I.display, and now I can see all the main components of what's in that packet. So it's an IP protocol 4 packet with no flag set, no SYN, ACK. Right now, source is localhost, destination is localhost, but all this stuff you can change. So you can change the type of service, the packet length, the ID flag, the fragment flag. You can change all this stuff. So I'm going to make a quick destination for this packet, and I'm going to send the destination to 150.1. So 192.168.150.1. And the reason that I'm making it 150.1 is because my machine is 150.131, right? So I'm just sending it to my own default gateway. So the reason I'm sending it to my own default gateway is I'm inside of VMware, so it's going to be a lot easier for me inside of VMware to run like a Netcat listener. And now I can have this listener running on this port if I want to catch traffic on it, right? So I can say, all right, well, what I want to do is I want to build the next layer of that packet, and I want to build an ICMP packet, right? So now I can IC.display, and you'll, come on, computer. Computer, got to be like a squashed tomato, catch up. So now you can see it's an ICMP type echo with this code and this checksum, this ID flag, and this sequence, and all these are changeable. Now think about it. This is one implicit packet where you're setting both the IP data and the ICMP data inside of the same implicit packet. So now you can turn around and you can send receive, right, SR. So I want to send receive one of this packet that's IP and ICMP, and now you put it on the wire. When you look at it put on the wire, you can see all those fields that you set in. Down here, you can see the nulls for what is the padding payload right here. So if you want, you can change that, and now I can put my name in here. So if you want to put your name in there, let's go Joe rocks the Python, right? So if you look at that, you're sending that ICMP packet, and if you look in the payload inside of that ICMP packet, it says Joe rocks the Python. This is ICMP tunneling. You're literally embedding data inside of an IP ping request. So here I am sending the ping, and I'm able to embed whatever data I want inside of that. So think about that. Normally, you would have to install all these different tools and install iTunnel or whatever your favorite ICMP, data encapsulation tool of note is, but you can do this in any protocol. DNS, ICMP, IPsec, right? Whatever you want to do, right? So you can kind of kick this up a notch and say, okay, well, I want to do the same thing over UDP. So why don't I jump back here and I'll do this. So I'll run this netcat listener for UDP on my Windows machine. So now I've got a UDP listener listening on port 4444. I've got the same thing here where I'll build that UDP object. Then I'll do a u.display, same thing, right? And now you can see source port is domain DNS 53. Destination port is domain DNS 53. Now I can change the port data. So if I do that IDST again, I'm going to use the same IDST from before. So it's got the same destination. And now I'm going to tell it I want to go to UDP port 4444. Now right in here, I'll do that u.display, and you can take a look at it, right? It's going to be a UDP packet. Source port is 53, destination port 4444. And when I send receive, I'll send receive, right? Joe loves Python, right? Sent via UDP. If you jump over here and take a look at it, you can see there's that UDP-based, right, packet encapsulation all done inside of StayP. So you guys are going to see StayP is a tool that's built on Python. So what you're going to find is you're going to see that a lot of security people use Python to build all these different types of tools because it gives them so much functionality. Okay, guys, now I know this is like crazy short, but I got to be a responsible, good teacher and teach the class that's actually here right now. So I'm going to button this up, but suffice to say, the class covers this and a whole lot more. So we cover network stuff, SQL injection with Python, web app attacks with Python, debugger automation, malware analysis, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really hoping that I see you guys in the class next week, and we're going to be doing these webinars every week. So be on the lookout for so many more of these. Okay, I would love to see you guys there. So everybody who signed up for the class will get this video, and then we'll send you guys coupon codes for future classes, right? So I hope that you guys do some more classes with us. Check us out online and at secureninja.com. All right, guys, I got to go. I hope you guys got some good value out of this, and I'll see you next week. I think next week I'll be doing a webinar on PowerShell. That's what I think is coming. But I'll be doing a webinar every Thursday at 1 o'clock, okay? All right, guys, I'm sorry I can't take questions, but if you want to send me a question, just send an email to support@InfoSecaddicts.com, okay? All right. Oh, you're from Nigeria. Oh, we got a couple people who work for us that are in Nigeria. Okay. All right. Much love to Nigeria, guys. All right. Make sure you get me some suya. I love suya. All right, guys. See you later, Danielle. See you later, Kumar. You guys take care.